So, you have a lot of knowledge, and it sounds like you've done a ton of research around the history of divorce and how it started and how we got to where we are today, where it's really, there's this idea that divorce equals conflict, divorce equals ugly, divorce equals unhealthy, divorce equals toxic. So, can you talk to me a little bit about how we got to where we are today?
Yeah. So, what you're describing is the culture of divorce. And so we're trying to change that culture. Just because it's the norm doesn't mean it's right. And so, when I went to law school, I started to learn a lot of the things that I felt like really had an effect on my own childhood and created a broken life for me. I started to learn how to be a divorce attorney. Well, a lot of the tactics and things that I was being taught within law school, I kind of correlated the two between my childhood and my parents' divorce and what I was being taught. And I saw that there were a lot of things that I felt like created some of the issues within my childhood through the legal system. And so I started analyzing, and I wrote The Cure for Divorce Culture because I really wanted to publish what I had found as my synopsis of what had happened in our country, because I felt like if we could give everyone a perspective of what divorce actually has become and how it got there, we would understand that it wasn't necessarily personal. It was an industry and a business event, if you would. Even business right now is starting to understand this because they're losing so much money because of what's happening in divorce. So they're losing the productivity of their employees. They're losing time from the employees being at their jobs because they're missing so much work for court. They're also losing a lot of money in the production of legal documents, the subpoenas that go out. If you imagine a bank. So I had a bank that did a commercial for me because they're very, understanding of the brokenness of the system and what's happening to people. If you walk in and ask for 4 years of bank statements, the teller has to go off to do that. And so now how many people are left needing services because you had to go in and ask for 4 years of bank statements that like maybe 6 months are going to be looked at in reality, and so
Right.
and not in every case, but I'm generalizing. And so I started to see, because I'm a business owner, I own multiple businesses, where this breakdown was happening all over the place. And so I started to analyze it, and it turns out that it really it's a historical event. In 1969, Reagan signed into effect no fault divorce in California. That then spread like a tidal wave over the states because it created a backup of filings. This was off the back of the feminist movement, which was great. Women were no longer property. They did not have to get divorced just because their husband cheated or there was an affair. And so it kind of moved towards people saying, okay, I want a better life for myself, or this wasn't really the person I wanted to marry, or, I want to change my mind, which I think we're all entitled to change our mind here in America and in the world and as humans. And so it wasn't necessarily supposed to be what it is, but because the family system was created, we don't have actual federal legislature or state legislature that creates a subsection called family court that's supposed to be completely different from district court or superior court that handles this issue, right? It just
Right.
kind of integrated into the system that was already there, that's very archaic and that's not supposed to be there to help the family. We have a criminal system to punish, and then we have a civil system to make people whole again when they've been damaged monetarily. Where does the family fit into either of those scenarios? And so it created a system that kind of got backed up. Then attorneys had a lot of billable hours. There was a lot of money to be made. Now we have a $50 billion divorce industry. And so if we can kind of think of it from that perspective, and we back up and we look at, for your people who are in the courtroom and you think, okay, how did I get here today? Well, you got here because of a culture, right? You got here because there's, been a transition of events that have happened that's kind of gotten us to this point, and you're in a system that has a V in the middle of it that makes two people adversarial, and that the more animosity there is between the two of you, the more money there is to be made. There's also issues with child support and state funding on how much money they make off of child support, orders that are in each state, and there's a lot of research around this. And so because of that historical perspective is in the book, and then it goes into how that then transitioned to this broken class of people, and then how we can get out of it. So it's
Okay.
really a manual.
So I love that.